we're doing here is just cutting some rods to hold the LCD screen on the side of the printer. And we've got a template piece of rod, it's 180 mils long. There's 8 mil M8 threaded rod. So we're just cutting them to length. We need one per printer, we're doing 7 printers. So we've just done the cut, we still need to clean up the burr, otherwise we won't get the nut on.
Okay, so what we're doing here is we're just arrising the ends. Basically we're just taking off the burr off either end of the threaded rod. Cheating by using a drill press. Simply put it in, don't tighten it too tight because you don't want to crush the thread. Switch it on, we're just holding the file at a 45 gram. It's as simple as that. Okay, so once we done the arrising on the thing, we just do a final check to make sure the nuts go on really nicely, and job done.
So here we are. We're about to mount the LCD, the ramps LCD board, and we're going to put it just above the ramps. Ramps will be mounted down here on the electronics board. So it's just an M8 rod. We're just going to drill a hole through here. I just had to record again because phone call came through, and so yeah, so we've got the position of it is sort of so comfortable so we can sort of see over this bar, not too far away from the ramps because the little ribbon cables are really short and you can't really use longer ones, so pretty much just pop it somewhere around about there. So M8 or M8.5 drill bit, and just drill through. Be careful when you get to the end, and don't drill too quickly. Put your rod in. Before you do that, get a washer and a nut, M8. So first just put a nut on your rod, a washer, poke it through the plate, wash on the other side, nut, tighten it up. 2 more nuts, 2 more washers. Just going to mount the LCD bracket now. Make sure it's round the right way. And do it up. Do it reasonably tight so it stays fairly firm. Just going to screw the little Arduino Mega 2560 into the little ramps brackets. So we've just got a tiny little machine screw for the corner, don't know if you can see it. And it just locks it in place so it doesn't slide out. Just like that. It doesn't have to be tight, it's just so it can't slide. So the next step will be to mount that onto the electronics board. So here we are, we're going to mount the ramps and the Arduino, the Mega 2560 onto the electronics backplane. So we're just holding it up. Got to get the height around about the centre of where the original fan's going to go. So we're putting it around about this height. So just mark your holes with the drill. And just drill it out.
So which way is this going to be facing?
The connector's towards the power supply. So here we are, we're going to mount the ramps LCD to the bracket. We've got 4 of these M3 by, what's that, 30 or 40. So grab the LCD, grab the screw, and you grab the little spacer as well, which goes behind the board. And we'll probably try and put them all through. just line up probably the bottom 2 screws and slip it up, do the top 2. Before you do that, make sure your cables go behind the screen. Put a washer on the back and a nut. And we'll probably use a bit of Loctite on here because we don't have any no-locks with us today. So they don't have to be too tight because you don't want to crush the LCD against the circuit board too much. There's no spacer in between that. So you just finger tight is enough. And put a bit of Loctite on your nuts to make sure that they don't work loose. So here we are, we just pulled out our ramps. And we're just going to fit the jumpers on it before we do anything else. So we use a 32 step or a 16 step depending on which driver you use. So just whack your little jumpers. This is X, Y, Z, extruder 0 and extruder 1. So we just populate all these step jumpers. Usually you don't need to populate this unless you're running dual extruder, but we might as well just put them on. So there we go, we're ready to go into the printer. So here we go, we're going to put the ramps onto the Mega 2560. So what I've done is just made sure these pins are nice and straight because they get bent up like buggery and been shipped from China. So what I usually do is start with the back bottom row and just work my way around. So then I'll go for this back connector and then the top pins. Sometimes you just have to wiggle it around a bit. Just make sure everything's plugged in and then push it down. And while we're here we may as well plug the LCD screen in as well. Again, start at the bottom and just work your way up. And that's it. Now we're just going to put the connectors on the power supply. Now we're going to grab the powerful power supply. We've got two. We've got one powerful one and one not so powerful one. This thing's 450, it's 350. The reason being, this one's going to drive the ramps and half the bed. So it's going to be driving a bit more. So we use the more powerful one. So we'll just put the two connectors on. So just strip all our wires. We're going to try and put 2 wires into each hole to give us a good 10 amps. These conductors aren't very thick, so we're just going to strip all our wires to start with. Twist your 2 together. So 2 pairs of 2. Just check which pin's going to be negative. And don't solder these. Some people solder the wires together before they put them in the connectors. It's never a good idea. And we're ready to plug it into the ramps. So there we go.